The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
You know, out in Nevada near the silver mines, there's a kind-hearted woman. She's looking so fine, always taking care of her community. Bringing folks together is her cup of tea. She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
And welcome to this week's episode of City Talk. I am About Town Deb. We're at the National Automobile Museum, and I got Grant Denton right here.
Hello.
So he just, I couldn't, like, he's, get ready, hold on tight, because this show is going to, who knows where we're going. But before that, let's just, About Town Deb, City Talk, replay. But replay that. Because we want to thank my sponsors first, and then we will get into business. So Crystal Basin Cellars, Surratt Law Practice, Welder Grille, and I went lost. I think I got it. Oh, wait, that's why, because you guys are here. So my two, I'm so tired. Home NV, Project Hope. Oh my gosh. You guys walk in the set.
Family Hope Project.
You walk in the set. You guys are all laughing out there, and I'm feeling left out, right? I was. Right. I felt left out because you guys are all like having a party out there, and I was finishing a show, and now I'm sitting here, and you guys are still having a party, and we got lots to talk about. So I think I'm just going to turn the show over to Raquel Riggle, and you are going to take over the show right now, and you are going to introduce our guest, and you're going to tell us why we are here and why the Sidewalk Meets the Home.
Okay, well, we have Grant Denton, like we just heard
Karma Box
from Karma Box, yes. And then we have Nisa with the Family Hope Project, and we're just here today to talk about the community of Reno, Nevada. Who, for those of you that don't live here, we want to just kind of tell you why we celebrate where we live and what we think is just so rad about living in Reno.
Listen to you, rad. You're like 10 years younger today.
I am.
She's looking pretty rad. Reno is rad.
It's because Grant mentioned 1985.
Oh, that's why he did.
Right.
Yeah.
When he was a young lad.
Yeah. So, hold on tight because it's a wild ride.
Hey, it's okay.
It's your guys' fault.
It's okay. I think Nisa and I can handle it.
I think you already got him, so we're good.
We got him to the table.
You got him to the table. So now that he's in the home at the table, what is he going to be chatting about?
Well, we're going to talk, I don't know, Nisa was talking a little bit today about, what's so beautiful about Reno. Her and I were both born and raised here. So we just want to celebrate Reno a little bit and just talk about why we've decided that this is so important to us. And I think Grant's on the same path with his Karma Box. He's from Vegas originally, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he's moved here and he's really made this Karma Box project huge in our city, and it's really helped a lot of people from my understanding. And Grant, you can obviously talk to this more than I can.
Well, so I'll tell you what's a trip is that the box, like the project, people are like, think it has very little to do. Like, I don't make boxes. I couldn't build a box if you.
I couldn't either.
I freaking tried. It was the worst. I was like, I need to build a box. I can't even build a box, right? I suck at painting, all the things. But what I'm good at is I'm good at being a cheerleader.
Like a connector.
And identifying what's cool in people. And we're good at promoting like folks and getting them pumped up about things. And I don't know if you could do this anywhere else. Like folks have moved from here to another state. Like someone's in Denver and someone went to California and I gave them permission to do that. Like, dude, if you want to do a Karma Box project, go ahead.
Sweet.
But a lot of them didn't work out. And it didn't work out because you gotta, it's the community. It's not you. Yeah. If you have to do it yourself, it's only, you got to get buy-in from the community. And Reno, the buy-in from Reno.
Huge.
And Sparks and just Northern Nevada, the buy-in here, like everybody wanted to do something good, and they want to be a part of something. It started out with just me and a bunch of recovering addicts. And the idea was that we build a box. Let me tell you a story. Okay.
Yeah, tell us a story.
All right, here's the story. Okay.
Okay.
So we build a box, we painted the box, we put it in front of an AM/PM. And the idea was that
this was in Carson, right?
This was in Carson
Yeah,
City.
we started there.
As a group, what we would do was we would go every week and fill it. So that was going to be our duty to the community, is fill this box. But I wrote a note. It didn't have a name yet. We didn't name it yet. But I wrote a letter and put it on the counter at the AM/PM, and it said, "Hey, if you got an extra buck, if you got any, if you can buy, water or whatever, put it in the box for someone who's in need." And I came back a week later with a bag of, you can get a lot of stuff for $20 at the dollar store. So a bag full of stuff, expecting to fill it. And when I showed up, the box was full. Yeah, and I go in and I asked the kid behind the counter, and he's like, "He's got long hair." And I'm like, "Hey, dude." He's like, he's leaning like that too. Like, what's that? And he's like, I'm like, "Hey, dude, where's the sign at?" He's like, "Oh my God. What was her name?" I'll remember her name in a second. Let's say Jill.
Okay.
Right? Jill, Sandra.
There it
Her
is.
name's Sandra. He's like, "Oh, Sandra came in and took the note." And I'm like, "A lady took my note off of the thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, but she lives in a trailer park back there." I'm like, "Give me her number. Let me talk to her."
Cool.
And what she did was she took the letter back to the trailer park where they live in, where everybody's on a fixed income.
Oh, right.
And she rallied for all her neighbors to buy a little something, take things out of their pantry.
Really?
And put it and they kept this box full.
See, that's what we're talking about, Nisa.
Every freaking day. And then I reached out to her, and she ended up being like, she was like my little homie. You know what I mean? Like, that was her gig. And like, that's when I'm like, "Oh no, it's not about the boxes. The box ain't nothing. It's not about a box. It's about creating a culture of giving and getting people bought in to helping other people, even on a small scale. Because when you think about like all the people that need help and all the things that need to be changed, it's overwhelming.
Needs to be fixed. I know.
It's overwhelming.
But what I love about this is that it's not just talking about it, because that's what I feel like we do all the time, is it's like talk, like, "Oh, we've identified a problem and let's all just talk about it. Talk. But we're never doing anything about it. And you took the initiative and you're doing something about it. And this is just like what Nisa's doing with Family Hope Project. Like, she's doing something about it. Like, your goals align so much.
Yeah. And I had a friend tell me, it's always good to have friends that give you wet blanket theories. They try to wet blanket all your cool ideas, but it's even if they're not intending to be nice, it's good to have that wet blanket friend.
Okay, so hold on to the wet blanket for a moment, because we're going to take a break.
Okay,
and then I'll hear more about the wet blanket and all the good, cool stuff you're doing. So it's About to Dub with City Talk. Be right back.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us.
She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to City Talk. I am your host, Debbie McCarthy, and we are at the National Automobile Museum, and we are having a really good time with Grant Denton. And if you heard the first part, we were talking about a wet blanket. So tell me a little bit more of that. But you during the break, you started to finish your story, and I think it's really important to share about what was the girl's name? Sandra.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about Sandra, because there's a lot of with what you guys are doing. There's a lot of Sandras out there who are living in places that they could use a hand up. So let's see how your friend Sandra you met, how she helped.
Well, so that she had no clue that like what I did. She didn't know anything about our squad that we came from. We were actually from a methadone clinic. Like the folks that were helping me build the box in the program were from a methadone clinic. And it just so happened that her daughter was having issues. And so we were able to help her daughter. But that's what's bigger than that, though, is before she even knew anything, she has a daughter that's suffering from substance abuse disorder on and off the streets. And when you're a parent, right, just crazy, right? So when I was on the streets and I didn't I'm in my little bubble. I'm just like, I'm doing my own thing, man. Mm-hmm. It's me against the world. Not really, dude. You're never really just hurting yourself because somebody loves you.
Right.
Somebody cares about you. And when I was in jail, my mom was in jail.
Mm-hmm.
When I was overdosing, my mom felt that a little bit. She got the only time my mom talked to me and felt safe was when I was calling her from when I was locked up. Because she knew that I was safe. Yep. She knew that she was safe, and so we put our families through some stuff, and just think about what Sandra was going through with her daughter, but she still gave and she still rallied the troops and she still got that speaks volumes for just humans. I like that gig.
Yeah. Yeah. I ran into somebody once. I was dropping off backpacks at VOA, and I would have never expected to see her there. And I was like, hey, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. We had met through a mutual friend or whatever. And she was like, oh, I'm just here looking for my son. I haven't seen him. And I come through, all of the different shelters and whatever and try to find him once a year. And, I just think that is, like you said, it damages everybody around them. And so this is just such a great concept. What I also like is it gives back to kids because maybe they're kind of a victim of that circumstance. And so they're able to have a snack after school. Like my kids come home and, they raid the refrigerator, but some kids don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and just like what you're saying, Grant, if kind of like her daughter was hurting also her mom and other people in the community, but at the same time, if the community is thriving, if people like that in the community are thriving, then it affects the entire community. Because there's so many people I feel that make choices, they vote in ways that it doesn't really affect me, but it does. If you don't associate with, let's say, addicts or felons or someone who you think is somewhat below you, it does affect you. They go to school with our children. We go to the same grocery stores. We drive around. It matters if our community is thriving. So little things like that to help people who, sorry, Mike just cut off.
No, it's so true what you're saying. And I think that that's why the show is so important, because I want you to be able to share stories. So if you're listening, you need to know you're not alone, that we've all gone through something. I mean, not everybody has the rose color. I like being in my happy bubble, but then, I got to realize the happy bubble is just my own little thing. There's so many people out there that are struggling, and you've gone through it and you've come through the other end, and now you're back on the streets making a difference.
If I have it.
You're fine.
Second,
no, it's all you.
So I'm going to tell a story, and it's not just for drug addicts. It's not just for people that are homeless or living on the streets. It's very real. It's just about struggle. When I was locked up, my granny was sending me books, and I was just reading. And then there was a gap between her sending books, and I was panicking. So I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. What would I read? And I didn't want to read James Patterson, any weird mystery.
I really like that guy. I love James. I like yours too.
Stop it.
He's one of my favorite authors.
Get off. I didn't want to read that guy. And so I started reading the National Geographic. And in the National Geographic, it had this story about what it takes in these tribe in the rainforest becoming shaman, and what they put these men through, these boys even through, to become a shaman. They put these fire ants on banana leaves and they sting them. and they sting them, and with the fire ants, they sting them. They're so uncomfortable, and then they give them a bunch of hallucinogenics and they kick them out into the jungle.
Oh, Jesus.
They say only 30% of the guys that go out into the jungle make it back, because they're either eaten by tigers.
Why would they do that?
Well, because it's a rite of passage, right? They want to be a shaman. But the thing is the ones that make it back from the jungle are the ones that are the shamans, are the ones that are sought after for knowledge. And if you ever feel like you're in a rough place, just know that it's your duty, it's your responsibility to the community to make it back, and you'll be the sought after one. You making it back from your struggle benefits so many other people.
Right.
You'll be sought after. People will come to you for advice because you've been through the jungle that most folks don't make it through.
Right.
Your hard times are a gift.
Well, like you said earlier, steward. I really think that's a great word. You're a steward of the community at that point. Well, or whatever it is you're doing at that point. If you've made it through the jungle and back.
Well, dude, you make it through the jungle, and just know that, and I remember reading that, and I'm like, oh my God, I am going to be a shaman of my community, right? Because well, that's it, right? All the terrible stuff that happened to me, or my maladaptive response to the world around me, had nothing to do with me if we look at it through the lens of what can I do for the community, right? And so it's bigger than your struggles. Have nothing to do with you. The cosmos are just grooming you for bigger things, you know?
Right. No, that's pretty interesting. I mean, because America, anyways, we work to live. And, we live to work.
I believe it's both.
I think it's both.
Well, you be on your deathbed and people are like, why didn't you call me? You're like, I don't know. I didn't have time. True. So, I think it's good to have that perspective, and I don't know about you, but I feel like coming out of my childhood, I'm like, woohoo, I made it.
Yeah.
I know, Nisa, you probably feel the same.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love what Grant's saying is it's in those times you don't know. You can feel so victim, but then when you're out of it, you just look back oh man, I can contribute so much to the community in this way. So it's not such an isolated situation. Last year I was talking about my brother, the way that he ended up passing away, and looking at it now, it's that's not an isolated situation. This is very common. It's a systematic issue. It's a community issue, and there's ways that we can look back and I could be bummed out about it every day, or just there's so many children enduring the same type of situations, the same generational parenting, generational addiction, generational mental illness, or now it's I can be a shaman or a light, and I feel that the fire ants sucked, but but I love bananas.
You love bananas.
I eat bananas, so
we love that you love bananas.
Thank you, Debbie.
It's a flowing thing. We talked about bananas in swimsuits or something. I don't know, earlier.
My underwear.
Your underwear. We did talk about that.
You know you made it when you get to wear those.
I know. So Grant, I know pretty soon you are going to have to go because you're a busy man being out there inspiring us all. Mm-hmm. So if somebody wants to get involved with the Karma Project, if they want to have a box by their their office or their community center? How do they go about getting in touch with you? www.karmaboxproject.org, or go to the Facebook page and message. I got boxes that are painted by different schools, other groups, and we got boxes. If you want to give back, get on the map and just put things. So that's in a box. Just do that consistently. Put things in the box consistently. One thing that when we're on the streets that we lack is we don't have consistent housing. We don't have consistent relationships. We don't have consistent employment. Nothing's consistent. If you want to help somebody on the street, that's consistent. You can do that every week, once a month. You can take. Yeah, so what is one of the top 3 things that if you were to put in the karma box, what would those 3 things be? That was going to be my question. Yeah. I know, especially right now with summer coming. And so water, I know they're not refrigerated, but like water is wet. Just clean water. Yeah. Just put it in there. Yeah. So water, non-perishable foods, and socks. Socks are socks. Yeah. Water, non-perishable foods. What about sunscreen? I was going to say chapstick. Sunscreen, chapstick. Because chapstick in the summer when you're out in the streets, isn't it like, don't you need that? I mean. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just, okay. I mean, anything you would need, just break it down. Well, obviously, we're all humans. I mean, just because you're on the streets doesn't make you not human. Well, and another thing is like, it's not always homeless folks that are in there. I got a lady that pulls up to the one. We have one right outside of our safe camp, and she'll pull up and we're loading it every day. Yeah. Right. And a lady will drive up in her car and get it. And she's not homeless. She lives right up the street, but she needs maybe she's just a little. So it's everyone's struggling right now, you guys. We're feeling this. The gas prices, groceries, rent, housing. I need help too. Yeah. So, and if you're filling a karma box, don't worry. Like a lot of people are like, but what if somebody takes all the things from the box? It's okay. Who cares? They need them. Yeah, they needed it. Yeah. You control how you give. You can't control how other people take. No, that makes sense. Yeah. But you know what, Grant, number one, thank you for being here. Thank you for the last, I don't know how many years since I first met you. You have accomplished so much from the first moment you came to our town. And I see you out there on social media, and you're out there talking to the high school kids. And I watch you, come into a gym, and you light up the darn room. On fire. I mean, it's on fire like those fire ants. But what an inspiration you are, because all these kids in high school, we need somebody like a Grant Denton to talk to them, because they don't want to talk to our parents, and some don't have the parents, or they don't have somebody to be that role model. And you are that role model, not just for our teens, but for all of us as adults. So I really want to thank you, and for taking the time to be here. And we'd love to have you back again. Definitely. Thank you, Ms. Deb. You're welcome. Absolutely. Thank you. Ladies. So it's that time again. We don't want to say goodbye to him, but we're going to have to, right? Darn it. Oh, I got somewhere to go. I know. Mr. Christian. We love Christian. My guy. He's your guy. So we're going to take a break and come back. And the girls, is all going to be about all their amazing work they're doing. So hang tight. It's About Town Deb with City Talk. We'll be right back.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver.
but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us.
You know that's what she said. Come on, let's have some fun with About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to City Talk. I'm your host, Debbie McCarthy, but we have two other main hosts with us. Nisa, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I cannot wait to hear. You're going to share some hope stuff with us, so I'm excited about that. And Raquel, as always, you're such a character. I don't know what we do without you because you're keeping us all on track.
I don't know about that. I just kind of wing
you
it.
Are. You really do wing it, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep winging it. But Grant, wasn't he just amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't his energy just like, whoo?
I know. You know, I wish I could tell stories like that. And I know.
And he just does
get
it
a point
so
across
cool.
like that.
We're still at awe of him.
Maybe I need to read more National Geographic. I don't know, but I'm going to do it.
I used to read that when I was a kid. I used to look at those.
James Patterson was just so much more fulfilling at one point.
Easy to read.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought so too. I could relate.
Well, anyway, we are glad to
Murder
be
mystery,
back.
Story of my life.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do my quote.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Are you ready? I got to find it. Here we go. And this kind of reminds me of you guys. That's why. For a community to be whole and healthy, it must be based on people's love and concern for each other. Mildred Fuller. And that's exactly what we were talking about with the Karma Box.
Yes.
And with you guys, with the Family Hope Project, that is what it's about. It's about family. It's about bringing people together. So when I saw that quote, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the perfect quote for the show. And then I did some more research and I realized that this month is National Month of Hope.
I love that.
And it also said during April, we were talking about spring the last show, buds come into full bloom, brightening our days, and the National Month of Hope also lends a hand to lifting up our spirits. So you had mentioned something about hope, and I'd love you to share.
Well, I think that's so beautiful. It's National Hope Month.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfect timing because spring reminds us of that, right? Like no matter how hard or cold the winter has hit, it's like no spring skips its turn. And it's, like the sun's going to come out again.
No matter what.
Yes. And what it reminded me of when you had mentioned it is that I had read something about a hope statistic, and it was like you could take maybe 10 people or however many people who have endured the same trauma or dark situation, and the number one indicator of their positive outcome or making it to the other side of that was that they had at one point hope for their future during that time. And just bringing it back to what we were talking about in the beginning, what Grant was saying is like, you could do try Karma Box Project or Family Hope Project in different communities, but it's not just about like having this box that's like beautiful or a place where people can come get parenting classes or mentoring and tutoring. It's like, this community is everything. This city, it raised me up and knocked me down and brought me back. And it's like, just having hope. I have so much hope for our community and so much hope for my future and the future of those who are here. And yeah, just hope is everything. And I think like the girl who was just on the show before, she's like, I don't get seasonal depression, and I'm not saying I was depressed all winter, but I feel so good right now. Like, it's so true. Like, sunshine is a promise. Flowers are a promise. Like, maybe that was really dark and cold, but it's gonna get better. It's about to get warm and easier to endure. That's how I feel about hope.
That is so true.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And like what Nisa's saying, like, this community has built us up and has knocked us down, but it is so good at rallying around and building people back up. And Nisa and I have talked about this pretty extensively about, this is Reno. Reno, Nevada is a great place to raise a family. Yeah. I mean, and you can have a job, you can lose a job, you can lose a car, you can get a new car, you can have all these things. But at the end of the day, what matters is just like the hope and the people that you've surrounded yourself with. And I think that's so important to remember anywhere you go.
I think what makes us so special too, just you reminded me of a conversation. I had a meeting with somebody from city council a few weeks ago, and she had just brought up something that I know because I have been working with vulnerable families for 15 years in the capacity of nonprofits. But she said, like, Reno is a place where, or like Northern Nevada in our community is a place where we kind of really depend on our nonprofits to fill a lot of gaps. And it is like, okay, that's a crying shame. Like, why don't we have more for government or, but it's actually very inspiring. It helps me look at all the nonprofits we have, look at all the people who are doing something. Raquel, you have a full-time job. We both have full-time jobs, and we're like, okay, now we have two because this is such a need in our community, but it's like you find something that you love doing and it doesn't feel like, I don't feel like I'm working
No, it doesn't.
We just sat at an event. We had a table, like our first event table last weekend, and the amount at Boys and Girls Club 9th Street, and we had sat. I ran into somebody from Black Wall Street, amazing nonprofit, and
I've never heard of them.
They're amazing. They're doing great things. You should go find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Black Wall Street Reno. They're doing great things for our community. But anyway, we ran into them I ran into them grocery shopping at on a Sunday night, and really I was grocery shopping, and they were having an event there through Reno Recipes, and they were just they were the nonprofit that was spotlighted. Yes, so just saying hi, what's up, and hey, we have an event next weekend. So anyway, Raquel and I brought our table and our food and our children's activity, and just the amount of like, hey, that's a Saturday, and it was a lot of our time, it was like our entire day, but just the amount of love shared, laughter shared, music, children, it's just like, it doesn't feel like
it doesn't feel like work.
No, and
you're learning so much more about the community, like that you all think you already know. But I felt that I walked away kind of humbled in some sense, because you come from this space and then you evolve into this other human as you kind of, grow up and you get a career, you get a job, and then to like go back to the space and you see like, that's the humble beginning that I started at. So you continue to like reconnect with yourself as a human, I think.
Yeah, and in doing that, like in connecting with the community and our neighbors from another side of the track or another side of the town, and you kind of connect with yourself and like getting to know these people. Like, hey, my children are really the same. They're all playing on the slide. The moms are all like, get back here, get your sunscreen, or get. It's time to you need to get water. It's hot out here. Like, mothers, we want the same things for our children. We all love our children. Our children just want to play and be safe, and we do depend on a lot of the nonprofits in our community to make sure like we're facilitating that. We're seeing this need for our kids and the families to thrive, and we're just here. We're here for it. And
and I just have to share, we had the best time.
I love her laugh. We love your laugh.
They had a DJ, and this guy, he was playing this
unedited version,
Ooh. And he didn't realize, at the time.
It was amazing.
It was the best. Like, we were like, oh yeah, because it takes us back to our childhood, obviously, and and these little kids are out there, they're just dancing. And I don't know, somebody brought it to his attention. He's like, oh, sorry about that words.
Well, what's funny is that, like, because Raquel and I have talked about on the show, like, we are not from the same side of town. And what's hilarious is like, I was just playing, I brought my own 2-year-old and she's on the slide, and I guess we were dancing. I don't know. I did not notice it was not the unedited version. My child doesn't care. I don't care. And Raquel's like, Nisa, do you hear this version? Do you hear the version that sounds like we're at a club? And I was like, I didn't even notice. I'm like, come on, baby girl. Give me my, like, we don't even, like, it's just the things that some people notice that other people don't. Like, this is my home. This is like my culture.
Wait, what'd they say?
What's the problem?
Like, didn't hear the verse?
She's like, this is not edited. And I'm like, oh. But anyway, she obviously was not offended. It was just hilarious, like how different, but so much the same.
Yeah, because you think, you're at a kids event and there's like other people's children running around and they were getting down. It was so awesome to watch it. And I'm looking, I'm just like watching these kids and
she's cracking up and I'm all, what?
So do you?
I don't notice anything different or any issue.
I don't know. That's kind of how it is in my car with my kids, but yeah. I had
a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And I actually look forward to things like that. And that's what keeps me going. And what was the quote that you sent me? And I said, somebody asked me once why I do this. And I didn't have an answer. And it was something like, it spiritually enhances me or something like that. But it really does. Like it's not because I jump out of bed every day and I come up with crazy things to do. It's just, I just feel like I am spiritually driven to like give back to the community, and it makes me feel alive. And that's why I do this. It's not because
it was like about your personality type, and it was like collaborating with any social service organization gives you spiritual happiness. And I sent it to her because I was like, wow, this is like about the personality type her and I've talked about. And she's like, literally, that's nailed it.
That's exactly who I am. Yeah. It just makes me feel like I'm able to give back and hopefully change one person's path. That's all I want to do is just change somebody's life. And I feel like I have all this like insight and I just want to like, here, you guys, can't you see what I see?
Well, like, great. I have been in the jungle. You need to see what I've seen. Don't go there. There's fire ants.
I don't want to go there.
You do? You want people to know this, like, there's a better way. There's a quicker route out of that.
I know. And so, our next segment, we'll talk a little bit about some of the cool things that we've done since we were here last, but it goes fast.
I know it does go fast, but what you're doing is that you're out in the community and you are volunteering. Yeah. And so with the Family Hope Project, that is what it's about. So I'm sure that our listeners, you can give them an opportunity to get involved as well.
Yes.
And to find out more about it, because a lot has happened in the last month and we need to catch up on that. So I am glad that we're going to be doing that. But before break, can you like share one story that maybe that's happened this last month that means something, like something that like made you go, wow, this is why I'm here?
I know Nisa has a million.
Come on, just one.
Gosh.
Or
Well, I mean, we were at a business meeting the other day just talking about, different fundraising events and things. And Nisa was doing her full-time job and she's constantly shuttling kids back and forth to school. And she's like, I don't know what it is today, but all the kids want to go to school, which is great.
Oh my, that's
they
a
all
good
text
thing.
me like, can I get a ride now? Can I get a ride now? Like, it was just it was funny. I swear it was exactly what I was talking about with what this girl was talking about when she left. Like, okay, it's springtime. Like let's go. Like every time how I try to get the kids to go to school is like, it's hard to tell them like, okay, your life will be better in a year from now or 2 years from now. Sometimes it's hard to think about that long of time, but I don't know, for some reason they just had all this hope for maybe seeing their friends or getting food at school or something. But it was a very precious day for me. I felt like, okay, everything I've been lecturing them about, they want to go to school today. And it was amazing.
When we come back, I do really want to hear about that, because it's kind of funny you're saying the kids. So you don't mean your kids, you mean
no,
the kids.
We mean yes
at
our public schools. Yes.
So I think that's a big deal.
Yeah,
because they've all been home for so long and having to do that.
Yeah.
And the sun is out and spring is here. So I would love to hear a little bit more about that. So we're going to take a break and be right back. It's About Town Deb and City Talk.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
Ready to help from her toes to her head. Just give her a shout. Call About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now back to the show.
And welcome back to City Talk. I am your host, Debbie McCarthy. We're at the National Automobile Museum. And I love that we've been talking about hope. And speaking of hope, the Family Hope Project, you guys are here. And you have a new website. Or a brand new one.
Yes,
and I'm actually, so go to www.familyhopeproject. And
is it .org?
Oh, .org. It didn't go all the way through, so it's .org. Yes. There you go. But so your vision, which is cool when we mentioned hope, our vision is a community thriving with families who have hope for their futures. And that says it all right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that is your whole, I feel like that's your vision and that's what you're doing. And so I would love either one of you who wants to chat about it. Talk a little bit more before we go into detail of all you've accomplished. Talk about what you are, what this is, because this is going to be an ongoing thing every month. And I want them to, if they missed it last month, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. And I think, Nisa, one of the biggest questions I think people might have is like, how did we come to the Family Hope Project? Like where was that born?
Right.
And that was kind of your brainchild. So I was doing the Garden of Freedom, and so that's kind of where I fit into this. But you had this whole vision. So tell us, like, where that,
how it culminated. Well, and like I've told you guys, like we, nobody's above needing help, right? And so I just remember, like, I grew up here. I was a kid whose mom needed help during the time in the 80s and 90s. Nobody was knocking on doors. Here's a food box and access to resources and some Easter baskets. And
I'm pretty sure we didn't pay for a Christmas tree the entire time I grew up.
Which my daughter loves when she says this. She's all, they sold Christmas trees, Mom. Like she loves
You
this.
sold them?
I did not sold.
No.
Stole.
You stole them?
I did not.
You did not.
Raquel herself did not.
No. I was just in the car with my family who rolled up and would take a Christmas tree and off they'd go. ago. And, I was like 6 or 7 and I thought that was normal.
Oh my
how you
God.
get trees.
That's
okay. So that's the
okay.
80s and 90s.
That's 80s and 90s.
Nobody
We're
was
all
really
adults
bringing
now.
you guys trees.
No.
And so, And so then I had my older daughters back to back. And, my family, as a young mom, I had been on food stamps. And we had at one point no car. And then we had one car. And my husband was taking the bus to work. And it just... I know stress, it's easier to bond with your children when you're not under stress. It's easier to function as a mom and, be mentally healthy when you're not under so much stress. And there's just ways to get out from under poverty. And if I can help somebody get out from under that heavy weight, then that's what I'm here for. So I've worked with our city's vulnerable families, which I myself was one, and for 15 years. And so I did notice there's times like, especially after COVID, but even pre-COVID, it's like business hours are 8 to 5 and you need to make an appointment and then you need to follow through that appointment in 3 weeks. And you need to take 2 buses to get here and you get diapers on Mill Street. And then you get resume workshops down South Virginia and also bring 3 of your kids or don't bring your 3 kids and take a number. And it's too much. It's so much. And
3 weeks later,
it's very heavy.
Like I'm in
You do it all over
right
again.
now, not 3 weeks from now.
And it's very hard to think, like we keep talking about hope and hope and hope. And it's like hope for your future, that number one indicator of having a positive outcome without having hurt yourself, mentally, or somebody else or a child or your spouse or injuring relationships. If you have hope for your future, it can really change an outcome. I mean,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Everybody in the community is a stakeholder. It's not just like that neighborhood is having a hard time. Like those, like I said, like the children from that neighborhood go to school with the children from my neighborhood. Maybe even if there's zone schools, like we're all in a community. Let's all get together and be at these, community events where there's resources, music, and music and music is the same to any child. Yes, where children are dancing and the sun feels warm and it just feels like it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
And so with Family Hope Project, we don't operate only in business hours. That's like the one, a lot of, we've been explaining like who we are and like meeting with a lot of people recently in the last month since our last show. And it's like, okay, so you're kind of like so-and-so, or are you kind of like so-and-so? And it's like, yes, but we're not 8 to 5. Like we understand crisis doesn't happen in business hours or stay within business hours. And so you can call the number on our website. You can reach out to us on Facebook Messenger. I get it right to my phone. And I stay up late and I get up early. And for some reason, I just have so much energy. And it's like, I'm not going to tell you like take a number or, I can only help you between 8 and 5.
Yeah. Come back in 3 weeks when your, crisis is still happening.
And you have hurt many people. Like so much can go wrong, if people feel like their especially basic needs and mental health needs are not being met.
Yeah. I mean, just like Grant was saying, like you're not hurting just yourself. You're hurting
everybody's a stakeholder. Yes. Our beautiful whole community are stakeholders.
Oh, that's really true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point because it's not just your grandma or your sister or your brother or your son.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the community too. Like what kind of damage did you create that we have to now pay for or fix or, you know what I mean? Like,
we're all pieces of each other.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. And it's kind of like the aspen trees. I had gone on a nature walk once and there was, they were describing how like the roots of aspen trees all grow together and because they're all connected and we as humans are all connected and we just have to find that and just stop putting those walls and barriers up and be able to be wherever and just appreciate humanity.
Totally. I think that's what's so rad about Reno being rad again. Seriously,
Reno's
just like Grant said, like you can't just do this everywhere. No. And well, I don't know. I haven't lived in many places, but like I've always felt like I've seen the same people at punk shows that I see at hip hop shows that I see at metal shows. Like I feel like Reno is so like interwoven and I feel we love each other. I love Reno so much. I think we all we have such a beautiful community like that.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things too is like businesses, like corporations and things like that. They step up when they are asked. And I think that this is a good place, in times like these where we're going through where gas is inflated. I recently saw an article where somebody, I don't remember exactly where, but they're offering gas at what they're paying to people. And it's not, I don't think it was in Reno, Sparks or Carson. I think it was like another town or whatever, but whoever the owner of the gas station was basically just offering at cost. And that those are the things that stick out to people.
That's
They
incredible.
remember you and they remember the hope in that situation
Yeah.
because maybe they only had $5. And so if they can get 2 gallons of gas instead of 1, I mean, that's going to make a huge difference and impact in their day, their week, their life.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So in the meantime, we have been doing the website. And again, go ahead and give that information out, Nisa, because I think that's important.
Yeah, familyhopeproject.org. Go check it out. And there's just ways that you can connect with us on the website. Our vision, essentially what our programs are, and then ways to connect with us.
And, Nisa has just tons of donations that she just received. She was talking about some professional clothes for women and men.
Yeah. Speaking of, amazing businesses, Gunderson Law made a big donation. They're so beautiful. That family is amazing, right?
Yes.
And so they made a big donation for women's professional clothing. I'm talking shoes, purses, undergarments, which are kind of hard to come across for women. When it comes to donations. And so, but just beautiful women's clothes. And then separately, we got from another family, professional men's clothes. So if you guys,
important too.
it's so important. Yeah. And it's like, some people don't understand. It's like, just explaining, like, it can be very expensive to go back to work. It's not just like, why don't you just get a job? Like I can give you a few reasons why someone just can't up and get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so if you're looking for stuff for, any kind of work, or, maybe interviewing,
preparing for interviews. Yeah,
exactly. Or just even going and walking in and getting an application.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that a lot of things are online right now, but we're able to help you, identify places that you can get access to online to fill out applications and stuff like that. So reach out.
Yep.
I mean, we're here for that. We're here to bridge that gap for you.
Yep. And we have bus passes too. We have a donation of bus passes. So
That's
sometimes
important.
transportation
That's
is
a big
huge.
deal. Yes.
To get to work.
Yeah. Absolutely. So,
I'm sorry. That's kind of our theme right now. Like, we're so inspired. We get inspired by the donations that we get. Sometimes when we get a donation of cash, some people are very specific about what they want it to go to. So that's how I got bus passes.
Good.
Somebody said they want to help with transportation. Feeling very inspired about from Gunderson Laws and another private family's donations. But also, we're going to be at Earth Day this coming up April 26th at Idlewild Park, and we will have our clothes there. So you can bring professional clothes, you can bring kids clothes. It's going to be like a swap, just kind of like to recycle clothes at our booth. Also a children's activity. Let me make sure I got that date right.
Check the date. So while she's checking the date, number one, thank you, girls. And we want to thank Grant. Next week on the show, I'm having, which you guys need to meet him, Jason Chandler. He is the author of The $5 Difference, How You Can Change the World with Your Spare Change. And he wrote this book, and it's really, he has stories of children, all ages, saving their pennies and their nickels and making it stretch.
That's awesome.
So he's going to be on the show. So you're welcome to join us if you'd like as well.
Cool.
But
it's April 24th, by the way.
So
Reno Earth Day, April 24th. You'll see Family Hope Project and tons of other booths and children's activities.
We'll bring the music.
And it is really fun. I actually, one of my very first events when I started doing About Town Deb, even before About Town Deb, was Earth Day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I originally got started.
And that's where you really see people of Reno that come out and
it's
really
the real
support.
Reno, and
Yes,
they're
the
all
real
very
Reno. You're gonna get the
authentic.
truth.
It's amazing. So website one more time, because we're almost out of time.
FamilyHopeProject.org.
And we want to thank you, Raquel, for making all this happen.
Yes.
So if you're looking to get a new house, what is your website?
We are homeandv.com.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
And you're also, both of you are on Facebook.
Both
so
of us are on
you can look
Facebook.
them up. And I also want to thank your hubbies, because you were saying that you're up early, you go to bed late, and you are, people can reach out to you on Messenger. So without a family that supports you, you wouldn't be able to do this. So I really think it's important to thank your hubbies. Or significant others or whatever they are. Yeah. Thank you, because without them, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing, and we need you to be doing what you're doing. So if you want to get involved, you know how to get them. And it is City Talk with About Town Deb. Remember, together we're one heart. And please remember, there's always hope in this month especially. So see you next week.